Hey, it's Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and it's time for another Kickstarter to back or not to back. By the way, note to self, don't post controversial videos on Sundays, because that's when I do all my Kickstarter to back or not to back research, and apparently my video, which went up yesterday about the whole The Witcher, female characters, all that stuff, the problem is I'm trying to respond to as many comments as I can while also trying to do research on things. Not the best recipe for things. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into it, starting off with, as usual, some updates, some Kickstarter adjacent, some, board game adjacent, some things not funding, all that stuff, then all the campaigns and everything, and then at the end I'll talk about my value pick and game of the week, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, Kickstarter pick of the week and best back pick of the week. So, heading off to there, starting off with Paperback Adventures, a novel ward game. No real major updates here, just as a quick note, I talked about this last time, I talked about Paperback Adventures, but how I am personally interested in this one, just because I always liked paperback and I liked hardback, but I have a problem with ward games that you're always waiting for the other person next to you to try to come up with the perfect ward, to perfectly min-max their way towards that extra 6-letter word that ends in Y or whatever it is. Now, Paperback Adventures absolutely has that style of gameplay, but it's solo. And also you're fighting against baddies by creating wards and attacking your bad guys with wards as you go through a series of progression as you go through 1, 2, 3, taking them out. I think it's a sequence of 9 missions, whatever it is, till you fight the big boss, whatever it is. You're going through stuff, attacking them. It's lots of fun, or seemingly lots of fun. The reason I'm talking about it now is just a small update. Since last week, I've played it on Tabletop Simulator. I'm pretty sure Tabletop Simulator. Since last week, I've played on Tabletop Simulator, and I've been really enjoying it. It's a solid. It's exactly what I thought I would. It's exactly what I thought it would feel like. All the gameplay of Paperback, plus then some, because they also have abilities and all these things on cards. And then playing solo means I can sit there and take as long as I want with my ward, because nobody's there breathing down my back, and I'm not waiting on your turn. So overall, I enjoyed. I will be backing this one. Just thought I'd note it. That's basically all. Moving on, Mosaic. Mosaic, no real major update here, past the fact that I put my review up. My review went up Saturday. If you haven't seen that, feel free to check that out. Overall, Mosaic is a 5 out of 5 for me. Solid game, really enjoying it. The one clarification I would give to my review is I saw a lot of people who said they played it and it didn't give them that Civ feel. And I don't disagree with that at all. It doesn't give you a Civ feel. It gives you a tableau building feel instead. This to me feels like Terraforming Mars light. It feels like if I want to play Terraforming Mars, but I don't have 3.5 hours, by the way, just played Terraforming Mars again yesterday, I don't get that game to the table enough because it's 3.5 hours, but oh my gosh, it is so ridiculously good. Anyways, if I don't have 3.5 hours, I will absolutely pull out Mosaic, because it really did give me that. It gave me a lot of the high notes of Terraforming Mars, not the complexity and drafting and other aspects I love, but Mosaic is a solid game. Really enjoying it, but more as a tableau builder than as a 4X style game. Moving on from there, we have The Witcher Old World. So, minor updates on this one. Number 1 is going to be Sunday. I put up a video talking about should there be female characters in The Witcher. No major real updates there. I just thought it was an interesting conversation. And the video, honestly, is more about the nature of how to have conversations and the aspect of we often look at our own side and not other sides, and we should be trying to see it from other people's point of views. It will help us come to common ground to a degree. But that was a fun video. I enjoyed doing it. It was mostly received well, but there's always... it's so interesting reading the comments. It is genuinely interesting reading the comments and seeing people who are just so extreme on one side or the other. There's lots of people in the middle, and there's extreme voices of no, those people, and no, those people, and they're just saying that to each other. They both think the other side is crazy, which is a shame. It's a shame. The other side's not crazy generally. We just don't talk to each other as much as we should. But that was that video, and so that was fun. Past that, I will have a full update video likely going up Wednesday. I probably should check my calendar, but probably going up Wednesday. I have a full video covering all the stuff for The Witcher Old World. For right now, just short notes is going to be the most recent updates are they released 2 expansions. I can't remember what they released since last video. Let's see if we can scroll down here and find it. They released at least 1 expansion since last video. I think 2. Let me see if I could find where are the expansions. So before the stretch goals, I guess. So we have over here. Here we go. Here are the add-ons. So we have The Witcher Old World, the Mages expansion. The Mages expansion is going to be giving you 5 characters, or basically right now it's 5 characters for I think 2 male mages and 3 female mages, or maybe that's 3 male, 2 male. I don't remember which one it is, but a bunch of female and male mages for the game, and it's going to cost you €40. There are stretch goals associated with this. The price does seem high. We'll talk about it more in Wednesday's video when we go over everything, but that was one update. And then they gave you a second one for €35, giving you the Legendary Monster expansion, bringing you 7 legendary monsters that will actually move around the board. They're going to they're going to act differently and interact differently with the game state. So if you wanted something more from the monsters, well, in addition to the fact that the monster trail is already giving you something more, this is going to give you more on top of that more. So more stuff, and they will be having one more add-on as well as a all-in pledge as well as an all-in pledge together with that. This thing will almost certainly be crossing 6.5 million. We have 5 days to go, but you can buy that all-in pledge, you can buy that extra add-on, you can buy the 5 more days and that slow creep at the end. This thing is aiming towards 6.5 million. I don't know, maybe not, we'll see, but I think it's going to hit that range, which is pretty insane and good for them. Moving on from there, again, full video out coming on Wednesday if you want all the updates and everything. Next up, we have the not funding category. The not funding category, we have 2 things right now. We have Final Fusion, which is not looking like it's going to fund. And if you look through the updates, it looks like they already realized it's not going to fund, but they're going to continue to use the Kickstarter to spread the love or share the game and whatnot. And honestly, while the funding goal is high, it's 79,000. If you had told me, hey, this was at 52,000 and not making it past 79, that would have made sense to me. I am surprised it's this low. Final Fusion by Gindie Games, the people who brought you Enchanters, and Final Fusion is giving you a similar gameplay style, not, well, totally different gameplay style, but feels the same to a certain degree, while being a totally different genre and also much more expensive in terms of it's giving you like a miniature game, and some of the most gorgeous miniatures I have seen, by the way. But it's basically giving you a game where you're going to run around and smack each other in the face until someone ultimately achieves Final Fusion. Final Fusion is the aspect that you have different classes or races that you're combining. You're taking different races, and you're going to say, I'm taking this race and that race, and then boom, look at that, we're going to go ahead and merge them up, and this is going to be the deck and characters I'm playing with as you go through the game. From there, you're going to move around the planets and take different actions, from drawing cards, from executing the action on the planet, to attacking each other, things like that, to colonizing the planet, all these different things, all designed to strengthen yourself to achieve that act of Final Fusion, where you basically start a process that is effectively a dare for others to attack you, and if you survive until your next turn, boom, you've achieved Final Fusion and won the game. But you have to build yourself up, you have to get more powerful in order to survive that process. And so that's ultimately Final Fusion. Does not look like it's going to fund, unfortunately, so that's, we're going to talk about it briefly here, but not much point going through the should you back it, should you not. Check it out, pay attention if you want, but moving on from there, we have another one that I'm also surprised is not funding, which is Fjordar. Fjordar is going to be, basically this is one from where is it from? It's from Go to Pieces Games, and it's basically, it's a, I don't even know how to fully describe this one. It's going to be a game where you have your characters and you're moving around the board and then engaging in fights and lots of tactical movement around this board that is constantly ever evolving and changing. So you have a few basic map setups in this game, and from there you can kind of put your overlay terrain tiles on top of it in tons of different configurations to effectively result in a different board every single time you play. The gameplay does look a little on the simple side from what they've shown, so that might be why, part of the reason why it's not funding. Combine the gameplay that looks on the simple side with the $79 price point, I believe it was. We're looking at, no, more than that, $96 price point is the entry pledge for this, and I think that's why it's not funding. Like, this was a game that was talked about a decent amount. Like, Final Fusion was one that I didn't see as much all over the place. I'm a little bit less surprised that it's not hitting the levels it is. Versus this game, $37,000 is nothing to sneeze at, but it's a $76,000 goal, and it's a $96 price point, which probably has a lot of people being, ooh, I'm interested in this game, don't know if I'm that interested in the game. It's a toss-up. There's a lot of components here. There's lots of terrains, lots of little minis or whatnot, but it doesn't have the presence or the presentation that the typical $96 game has. You compare this with something like, and it's not a fair comparison, but you compare this with like a CMON entry-level pledge, and you could get the CMON entry-level pledge with the hundreds of miniatures and stretch goals and all those things, or you can get this. Putting yourself in a $96 price point is a hard one, and does have a lot of people looking at it saying, gotta think twice about that one. We'll see how it goes. They're definitely at the point where they may actually fund with 20 days left. With 20 days left to go, they may fund, but it's like 50-50 at this point. Not that the campaign is 50-50. The campaign is 50-50, but it's a toss-up. When you're 8 days into a campaign and you're not halfway there, it is going to be close. However this plays out. Moving on to Kickstarter, to board game adjacent, we have OrbiDice. I talked about this in my upcoming Kickstarter campaign, not campaign, my upcoming Kickstarter video. And OrbiDice is basically unique and customizable dice that will take your game to epic levels, which is basically just round dice. These are round dice. That's what you're getting here. So effectively, you have this little thing over here. Let me see if I can find the picture, because the picture I thought was cool. Effectively, if you look on the inside somewhere in one of these GIFs, they had it. Where was the GIF? They had this before. They had the way it works on one of these things, but I'm not seeing it now. You can see a lot of the dice. The dice are cool looking. Where's the thing? There's a thing somewhere here. I can't find the thing, guys. I'm sorry. I can't find the thing. Was it over this? Yeah, over here. Here we go. So over here, if you see this over here, this is showing you how they have a little marble on the inside. So what happens is the marble kind of, as the circle rolls, you might think it would just keep rolling forever, but at a certain point, that little ball on the inside slots in place and kind of provides a center of gravity, forcing it to stop at a reasonable time frame. So you're going to roll it, and it'll roll, but it won't roll forever while you wait for a perfect precision, whatever. And combine that with the various designs they have, the designs they're unlocking, the various, D6 or D12 or whatever sets they have. It's going to be expensive. It's not going to be cheap, like many of these dice wouldn't be, but coming in at roughly $60 for a set is not crazy either, considering the craziness we've seen for some dice. The campaign's doing so far pretty well, $439,000 for a bunch of dice. Honestly, dice are the business to be in. Board games just seem like so much more work with so much less return. Just go ahead and make dice instead. Dice seems simpler. That's going to be OrbiDice. Moving on, this one I missed basically last week, so I missed the Blue Collection from Little Rocket Games. The Blue Collection, they're the ones who brought us Rune. They brought us Rune, which was a Kickstarter little micro game that was on Kickstarter several months back. I don't remember exactly when, but this is bringing you a collection of 3 micro games, technically 4. There's a 4th game if you buy the set, so you get 4 games in one. Those games are going to, let's see if we can scroll through them very quickly. First game is going to be a game called Insert Coin, which is basically a polyomino roll and write situation. You're going to have polyomino cards, you're going to draw 2 of them or 3 of them, you're going to build out your shapes, and from there you keep drawing more cards to fill in the shapes that you've built. So you're going to draw that initial shape and then start filling them in. Whenever you accomplish a full shape, you get to score abilities, rinse and repeat, keep going to the next level. If you get to the end game phase and you haven't completed a shape, you slot off one of your coins, you lose a life effectively. Keep doing that, going through the game, and the one who does the best is ultimately going to win. Then you're going to have Cyberdoom Tower, which is going to be a game where you're effectively trying to escape through a tower as you avoid the bots and eventually make your way to the top of the tower and defeat the AI running the algorithm, whatever it is. You're going to have a bunch of floor cards that you put on top of one another to create the floor, the order of the puzzle you're creating. As you go through that, level up, acquire equipment, and defeat the AI at the end. And then you're going to have one card dungeon. One card dungeon is going to be one where you have effectively one double-sided card, giving you 2 dungeons to go through. Every time as you go through levels, whenever you complete a level, you'll either heal or gain an ability. Keep doing that across the whatever it is levels, 18 levels, something like that. I don't remember exactly how many levels. And then at the end, if you survive, you get the MacGuffin Scepter, which is nice. So that's basically going to be that. 3 different micro games, and then the 4th micro game, I can't remember if there's a full breakdown of how it plays, but it's another roll and write kind of genre of game. I can't find the breakdown here. Not seeing it here. They added it after in the campaign. But as far as pledge levels are basically going to be roughly $10 per game to get them, or $28 for the full collection plus shipping. Overall, this one's going to fall very squarely in the category of this is a smaller, cheaper game. It is unlikely you'll see your money back. That said, Rune did not have a wide retail availability or anything like that, so this may be a game where, if you're interested, I would recommend, for the price difference, I would recommend go ahead and getting it now, but it's not when you're going to see your money back on that. It's one that has a low enough audience. Jump on it, don't jump on it. It's a smaller, cheaper game. They almost always fall into that same category of it's more about your personal preference. There's just not enough wiggle room for something that holds its value on those. Moving on, we have Adele, a space horror board game. This theme is delightful. So, here's the theme of Adele, okay? Adele is basically the AI on a ship in this one versus many game, and the AI has decided that the humans on the ship are not worthy of living, or worthy, or whatever term you want to use, but they're going to die now. And so what you have is, this is going to be a one versus many action programming game, where effectively Adele is trying to figure out what the humans are going to do, and she programs her actions accordingly, trying to slowly take them out, deprive different rooms of oxygen, all those fun kinds of things you would do if you were a mad rogue AI. I think that theme is delightful. The art looks great. The general genre or theme of the combination of mechanics and everything else looks great. A one versus many action programming game about a rogue AI who's trying to suffocate and kill all these people on the spaceship. That is delightful. I'm probably a little bit messed up if I think that's delightful, but it's delightful. It seems like exactly the kind of game I'd want to play. The pledge level is coming in at roughly $49 for the game, so it's going to be roughly $49 for the crew member pledge. The full crew is just going to be a group pledge, effectively. And there are lots of Kickstarter exclusives in the game. If you scroll down to the optional add-ons, the stretch goals, not add-ons. If you go to the stretch goals, you'll just see all these stretch goals unlocked one at a time. Anything with that little tag is Kickstarter exclusive, so lots of Kickstarter exclusive tags on various options as the game continues to grow. We have, 6 days left? Yeah, 6 days to go, so still more things coming. And obviously, at 744 backers is also not a guarantee this will be at retail at all. May well be, I guess, kind of a middle ground, where 744 people, that could be 1,000 by the end of the campaign, maybe 1,200, whatever it is. That's enough where it very well could have retail, but no guarantee. This one falls into a category of, I don't know. It falls into a category in general, we've seen this before, where games are sometimes the price point's not bad. $49 is not bad, but you combine, here we are, $49, what is it? $49 for the game, with stretch goals, with exclusives. It all comes down to how good the game is. If the game is great, then the stretch goals will make it hold its value. The theme seems great, the general everything seems great, but there's no guarantee whatsoever about the gameplay, and I've talked about this before, there's no content creation around the game. There's going to be one gameplay video. I do recommend watching that if you are interested in the game. Check out the, check out the rulebook, check out the gameplay video, see if it's a game for you from those stances, but there's no content creation around the game, no previewers, nothing like that, talking about the game and seeing how it plays past that. So you're kind of left with this middle ground of a theme that seems great, a price point that seems good, stretch goals and exclusives that seem like it might make it a good value, but all a question of it. Who's to say this is or isn't a great game? There's no track record and no content creation around the game. So that is a little harder to make a decision there. I, for myself, am very interested in the game, and I don't yet know if I'm backing it myself. And that's going to effectively be Adele. It's a toss-up. If it's a great game, then the price plus exclusives and theme will make it hold its value. But it is a risk on whether it's a great game. Moving on, we have Actually. This is going to be this first of two. Actually, let me refresh this page. Did I say Actually? Yeah. Actually is going to be, there's going to be the first of two kind of board games, but not like designer board games in this video. So Actually is going to be the College Humor. I actually think it originally started on College Humor and then became its own separate YouTube channel just because of how popular it was. This is going to be with Mike Trap, and it's just going with the Actually game show. So you say something that is not exactly true, and then you go with the Actually. So for instance, the Game of Thrones TV show was a highly successful TV show that ran across 7 seasons and ended with, actually I don't want to say spoilers, and it includes famous characters such as Daenerys Targaryen and Ned Stark. And this is the part where you go, actually, Game of Thrones was a TV show that ran across 8 seasons, Alex. Go jump in the lake, okay? Actually, I gotcha. That's the goal. You just say a statement. You say a statement of whatever it is, usually around nerd culture, because nerds have that whole, actually, that's the whole premise is, actually, Spock wasn't in blah, 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 I don't know, whatever it is. But that's the premise of the College Humor YouTube show, or the, now with its own dedicated YouTube show. But past that, they're now bringing it to a on-your-table game show that you can play with. It's a cute premise. Before we even get into it too much, this one has the classic party game problem of, party games, there's two kinds of party games. There's party games where you go through the cards, and then once you've gone through them, you're just repeating yourself. And then there's party games that combine things in a way that you never repeat yourself. So Codenames or Apples to Apples or games like that have the combination of things ensures that you can never repeat yourself because different combinations produce different results. If you're playing Dixit, having 5 cards on the table, the game might change depending on which cards or which combination of cards are on the table. Versus Actually, it's a factually based thing. Once you've gone through the cards, you're kind of run out. That said, I'm not saying don't get it. I'm saying that it has a more limited shelf life, or you can mix it up with different groups. But at a certain point, you're going to be Actually 8 seasons. Booyah, got your Game of Thrones. Past that, pledge levels here are going to be threefold. They're going to have a few things. They're going to have, and these are covering this is because it's popular enough, it's geek culture, and it's 11,000 backers. What are you up to? $600,000. And we have a few options. We have for $38 Canadian, we have the standard edition. For $48 Canadian, they have the community edition, which includes an extra 60 questions for $10, and then for $65 you get over 50 episodes worth of questions, a bunch of extras, all these extra things in the game, just giving you more longevity to that game. And then we have the add-on Dimension deck for $20, the Traps Treasures for $5, and then for $500 a prop from the show if you want one of their 12 props from the show. The fun fact, they've actually teamed up with the company that brought you, I think it's Weagle's TV or something like that, Weagle something. Let me see, I have the names over here. Weagle's 3D. So Weagle's 3D brought you 5 Minute Dungeon, and they've run board game Kickstarters in the past. They're bringing you this one. As far as should you back it, should you not, it's a party game. Generally, party games have especially mass market based party games, generally those have a much lower after sale market. You could probably expect to find this on eBay for half the price down the road. And obviously the question is, will it show up in retail? If it shows up in retail, then this Kickstarter is not giving you anything exclusive, or not anything labeled as exclusive, I should say. So I would say if it's going to show up in retail, just get it at retail, or check it on eBay, or if you really like the premise of the show, then go ahead and get it. But I don't imagine this is one that holds its value. I could be wrong. There are always standout exceptions that do hold their value just because there's enough of a fan base or following around that thing that it propels it past whatever the pledge was, even down the road. Moving on from there, we're going to have Squaring Circleville. Squaring Circleville is going to be from Spillworks GmbH, and they're basically bringing you a fairly unique game about squaring Circleville. Circleville is basically a real place. It's a real historical thing that they're making a game about, where they created a city. Let me see if I can find the pictures over here. They created the city over here, and it was circular and spread out from there, and people didn't like it. So across 18 years, they basically squared Circleville. They went through a slow process of squaring out the city and basically deconstructing, reconstructing the entire town, and just whatever. There's a term for it. The term is redevelopment, urban redevelopment, not development. It's urban redevelopment in the United States, and that's basically going to be the theme of the game. The game is going to be bringing you a rondelle-based system as you move around the board, which defines the color of your actions, taking the actions to sort of slowly but surely square out Circleville, get various abilities or tableau things, or they can help you out as you go, and that's basically going to be squaring Circleville. It does have solo play as well, and I believe it has TTS if I'm not mistaken. I recall seeing TTS somewhere here. Let me see if I could find it. I believe there was a TTS gameplay of the game somewhere. Maybe. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I saw it, but I'm not seeing it now, so I could be wrong. As far as should you back it, should you not? This is unfortunately coming in at a price point of $84 for this Euro game, which means it's in this weird... And GM Spielworks has done this before with, what was the last one? Tharos, I think it was. But they've done this before where they bring you a game that looks like a $40 Euro game and then gives you the price tag of one of those, deluxe Kickstarters that we've seen. I can't remember. Game Brewer has them all the time. But you get these, the lots of deluxe Kickstarters that look great, these Euro games that are over premium and everything else, and then they charge you $84 for those, and those are giving you deluxeified games. Spillworks has twice now brought us $40 looking games and then charged $84. Now, don't get me wrong, at the end of the day, if a game is good enough and rare enough, it'll hold its value. Look at any Splotter games, which they charge $100 for games that look like they should be $50 games, and they do it because they're able to. They're able to, they're hard to get. It ends up working well for them. But that is likely the exception that breaks the rule or makes the rule, whatever you want to call it. I don't think that's going to be the case over here. I don't think it was the case with Tharos. I don't think it's going to be the case over here. I think this is a game that if you're interested in it, and keep in mind, retail availability, they've said that there's no guarantees or plans of retail availability. They currently are just publishing the game themselves. This might be the only chance to get it. Or, of course, it'll be picked up. I would argue that the more popular, the better the game is, the more likely it'll be picked up, and then it'll be available cheaper later. But overall, this one falls in the category if you're interested enough, go ahead and back it. I do not imagine this one holds its value. It's just too expensive. The only real chance you have is just the limited supply. 358 backers as of now. What is it? 500 backers by the end of the campaign. A limited enough supply combined with enough word of mouth can make it worth it, but I am skeptical of that being the case. Moving on. We have the Keeyp, a roguelite board game. This is going to be 430 backers, $21,000. This is a game where you're going to be laying out cards and to eventually try to find the key and then trying to stop the person from escaping or be the first one out the gate or whatnot. The game is going to be giving you this tiny little game box with all the cards as you go through it, a variety of characters, all with their own special abilities that will be, you'll have, what was the one they showed? They showed one in particular which was, a ranged attack, the Blue Jazz, that you have the ranged attack, that the ranged attack increases by 1 for every tile you are from the player line of sight. So it's just basically combining different characters, different abilities in this little roguelite, abstracted, 20-minute dungeon game. I assume 20 minutes. I don't know if I actually said that anywhere. I'm assuming. Here we go. 20 minutes. Look at that. Perfect. Excellent. See? 20 minutes. Ages 7+. Ooh, that's going to get them in trouble. They shouldn't have said 7+. 7+, this is going to be one of those things that... So basically 7+ is something you want to avoid. I believe 13 or 14 is currently the age you want to put. If you put anything under that, then you have to go through extra degrees of testing, which is why all games have ages that... Well, most games have ages in them that are not necessarily true to what the restrictions are, but it saves you from expensive testing that you don't have to go through. So yeah, I mean, I guess they just subject themselves to that now. But past that, the game is going to come in at $30 for the game, which I think is a lot of money for basically a singular deck of cards. I am skeptical that this one will hold its value. It does fall in the category of your options are secondhand market, waiting for retail and hoping, or getting on the Kickstarter. So might be your best chance to get it, but I'm very skeptical that this one holds its value just due to the lack of name, the contents, and the price point around all of that. Moving on, we have My Singing Monsters, the board game. My Singing Monsters, the board game. This is going to be from, what's the name of the company? It's going to be a Big Blue Bubble, right there. Big Blue Bubble, which makes the app My Singing Monsters. If you've never heard the music from it, you can go ahead and check that out. The music is fairly addicting. I've never actually played the app myself, but one of my kids was very into it for a while, and I heard the music all the time. And they're bringing you the board game. In fact, I went ahead and reviewed this one with Ricky. You can check out our review on the channel. But My Singing Monsters is basically bringing you, it's a... what's the genre for this? It's going to be, it's not really worker placement. It's not that. It's basically you have a hand of cards. You're going to be playing them down to different islands, and every time you play down a card, you are effectively melding together two monsters based on the elements, creating a better, stronger monster that will be useful for you next turn when you play that monster. So you have a 1-element monster, it turns into a 2-element monster. Then you turn that into a 3-element monster or a 4-element monster, and you have to try to mix and match the elements so that you don't have crossover. When you don't have crossover, you build a monster. You're doing that on these islands, and each island is going to give its own ability as well. So you're both creating a monster, generating music, melding a new monster, and then taking the island ability. The game starts with only one island, so not starts. There's different difficulty levels to the game, and the way you can introduce the game to your family, to whoever. Basically, one island is going to be the starting difficulty, and from there you add more islands. Let me see if I can find it over here. Basically, you can add more islands as you go, so it starts off with one, and you can add all the way up to 5 islands, each one giving a different ability, different way to play the game. So basically, it's a game that grows with you, which is great for not bringing non-gamers, so to speak, into the fold, bringing people into the fold who are coming into this interested in My Singing Monsters, and then they might potentially bring in whatever. This is from Sen Fung Lim and Jay Cormier, so solid names behind this. Overall, it was a solid game, but not one that, it's one that I'm semi-interested in it, but there were enough complaints that I'd only really play it if Ricky asked for it or whatnot. The game itself is coming to you with 2 options, a standard edition and a deluxe edition. The standard edition is going to give you, let's see if we can find it over here, basically all the monsters, the binders, the things, all the stuff that helps you, well, take all the components and everything else, plus all applicable stretch goals. The deluxe edition is coming to you with miniatures, plus the Weebots, the Werebots, what is it? It's the Werebots, the Weirdo Bots expansion, so more miniatures and more Weirdo cards and Weirdo tokens, bringing you more gameplay to the game. And then they have a whole bunch of limited experience pledges, meeting people, being involved in different things, stuff like that. Past that, they have a bunch of expansion, a bunch of stretch goal stuff. They have the Mammoth promo card, the Toe Jammer promo card, all these different promo cards for the game. Standard upgrade elements are upgraded to whatever, and stuff like that continue to be revealed as the game progresses. This one is Kickstarter exclusive, at least as of now, with a big maybe around it. We have, will My Singing Monsters be available at retail? My Singing Monsters, the board game, is exclusive to Kickstarter at this time. At this time, that's the key word, as are all stretch goals unlocked during the campaign. So at this time is basically a fancy way of saying we're not making any guarantees or promises, but it seems like it'll be exclusive to Kickstarter. So they're not locking themselves into it. I would imagine it would be exclusive, but there's definitely no guarantee there. So make that decision accordingly. But that does mean that both the standard coming in at $40 or $34 US, as well as the deluxe coming in at $63. Again, the deluxe upgrades the miniatures, as well as giving you the Weirdo Bots expansion, all that stuff. This may be only chance to get it past the secondary market. Will it hold this value? Will it not? I'm skeptical it will, but I don't think it's going to be a big gap. My Singing Monsters, on the one hand, has a huge fan base, like a huge fan base. To a certain extent, I'm surprised that this campaign is not doing better. If you look at the original announcement video on YouTube, it has like 20,000 views, maybe more, I don't remember what it was. It had a lot of views on it. They clearly have a passionate fan base, but it seems like the passionate fan base either is not interested in the board game, or they're not the ones spending money on the board game, and their parents said no to spending $40 on a board game. I don't know exactly where it falls, but it does seem like this is simultaneously a huge audience for the app, and yet the board game is doing okay at best. Again, $50,000 is not nothing, but with the IP behind it, I would have thought it's doing better. That means that because of that lack of hype and buzz and people pursuing this, it does mean that I'm skeptical of the value, while also you never know. If this never shows up at retail, then there's a decent chance at some point someone will sit there and say, I really like this My Singing Monsters app I'm playing. Oh, there's a board game, let me go find it. And then there's only a handful of copies in the wild. Keep in mind, 400 copies or whatever it is we're up to right now, 349 backers is a handful of copies in the wild. So we'll see where it goes. I'm skeptical of the value thing, while also not ruling it out at all, just the nature of a large enough fan base and people who are interested in spending money to get the board game. Moving on from there, we have the Isle of Cats, don't forget the kittens. I have a dedicated Kickstarter video on this one where I go through everything. There's a lot going on here. $848,000, 7,000 backers, 7 days to go. This is doing very well so far, very happy for them. Short version, I'm going to try to cover this as quickly as possible. I did a full roundup of it. This is bringing you a few new things to the Isle of Cats. Bringing you the Kittens and Beasts expansions. Kittens are basically little rewards that, let's see if we can find it here. Let's see if we can go through it. Kittens are going to be rewards that reward the player who's the fastest. The Beasts are going to be tiles that go down that want to be connected to different families of cats. It's also going to be giving you an event module in the Kittens and Beasts expansion, which is the events are just things that will give you different mixing up states to the gameplay that affect all players. And then you have the boat pack. The boat pack is going to give you 6 new boats that are different types of boats and shapes to mix up your gameplay. If you're getting bored of playing the same boat every time, this is giving you a variety of boats with different shapes, different puzzles to go through. Same game, just different boards around it. Past that, they're going to have the 2-minute box, which is both a larger box to store all your content, as well as an insert to organize absolutely everything. All of of these are available at different pledge levels, and they do a great job guiding you through those pledge levels. Over here, where'd it go? Did he move it? No. Did he move it? No. Did he move it? I think he moved the order. Did he rearrange the order of this Kickstarter page? Now I'm confused. Anyways, it looks like he did. It looks like he showed you everything first. So the last time I went through this, it was on top, and now it looks like they ordered it to the bottom, I'm guessing. Or did they take out entirely? Sorry, I'm so thrown off here because they had a great guide. Did he just remove it entirely? Sorry, I'm a little baffled here because I went through this Kickstarter before, and it looks like Section 1 is gone. We have the story, and then Section 1 is just either gone or not loading. Something's wrong here. Either way, they had a great guide that guided you through the entire which pledge level will be great for you, and it's completely not there now and throwing me off entirely. But the pledge levels they have are going to be, let's see if we can scroll down to the bottom and find them elsewhere, because we can't do the guide. Let's see where we are. They're just not here at all. There's just giant sections missing. Let me see if I refresh the page. Give me a second. Bear with me while I, lose my mind over the fact that things are changing on this page. Here we go. This is it. Okay, there we go. Section 1. That's what I wanted. So I wonder if they updated since I loaded the page and Kickstarter did stuff. Either way. So, do you own the Isle of Cats game? You go through these options. Veteran 1, yes, you got these are exclusive. They go through this whole thing showing you, and also the labeling what's exclusive, which is great. So they're showing you that the Kickstarter Pack 2 is exclusive. If you're a new arrival, these two Kickstarter Packs 2 are exclusive, and they're showing you that the big box is exclusive as well. So all these things are showing you exactly what isn't exclusive. Nice, clear labeling tags. They did not have this last time. That might have been what they updated, but they have all that, and they guide through the different pledge levels. You could be spending anything from as low as, whatever, for $61 to get all the new content for the game. As low as is relative, but $61, or you can spend as much as $250 if you want absolutely everything for the campaign. Lots of stuff there. Very short version on this one is it does not hold its value if you look in the secondhand market. You can usually get the stuff for cheaper. I would say if you are interested in the expansion content, if you have the base game and you want all that, I would probably go ahead and back it. The $10 I'm going to save versus picking up at the secondhand market later and having to get it used and find it and wait and all that wouldn't be worth it to me. But if you are interested in someone who's going for the all-in, you may want to be patient and wait. It will likely be available in the secondhand market, and for sure it'll be available cheaper in retail, but without the exclusive content as well. Additionally, it's worth mentioning, they also have a roll and write over here, an explore and draw, but a roll and write genre in the Kickstarter as well, another thing you can add to your pledge. That's going to be Isle of Cats. Again, full video covering all of this. I'm just going over some updates. Next up, we have Mechanical Beast. Mechanical Beast from Side Room Games. Same people who brought you I never say this right. Makee, I don't remember, but whatever it is. So, Side Room Games, Mechanical Beast. Mechanical Beast is a game that has solo, co-op, and competitive mode, as you have this very interesting theme of a beast that's supposed to be like some beast that will solve the world's problems, a sentient robot, blah, 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 that is now going insane, and you have to get into the inner workings and try to shut it down, and then get everyone out before it falls apart and explodes. So what you're doing is you're running through this maze of rooms that are inside this Mechanical Beast, and every time you do things, you can move around, you can rotate rooms, you can change up the configuration. Then once you actually hit that stop button, once you find and hit that stop button, you now have to escape, but the beast is slowly collapsing around you. Great theme for what is ultimately a tile-laying puzzler game. It has solo mode, it has cooperative mode, it has competitive mode, which I'm happy about because these kinds of games, I think all three modes do provide something different to the genre, to the game as you go through this. The game is going to be basically, there's going to be two options. There's going to be the $24 Engineer, which is basically the game, and then the $40 Engineer, which from what I can see, the only difference is that you get your name on the inside of the box. So it's an extra $16, but you get your name on the inside of the box, and 72 people have backed that. I always wonder with these things, is that 72 people who want to support the company or want the name on the inside of the box, or just are so used to going all in that they went for the most expensive pledge, thinking there's something more deluxe. I'm always just curious. I don't know. I'm fine with supporting the company. I just don't, I'm always, it just seems to me, this is just my own bias, I wouldn't pay $16 to get my name on the inside of the box. It's not a value to me. And $16 to support the company is great. I probably wouldn't do that either, though. I buy the games. That's what I do. So I'm always fascinated by it. I think 72 is a larger number than I would have expected, which is why I'm confused by it. It also does match the number of room tiles, apparently. Is it still 72? 72. 72 backers, 72 room tiles. Coincidence? I think not. Illuminati. But in any case, so 25 meeples, 9 meeples, this is going to be giving you that game, and so everything going on here, plus the shipping. Shipping, I think, was $6 if I'm not mistaken. So all in all, you're looking at $30 for the games, so obviously depending on region and all of that. Stretch goals. They're unlocking stretch goals already because this campaign is doing fairly well. What are we up to? $24,000, 991 backers. 991 backers is a lot. It's just a cheap game, so it doesn't add up to all that much when you count everything up. Overall, should you back it, should you not? And this one is fairly simple. This one falls in the category of the side room games in general. Side room games has had a few categories of games. They usually have smaller box games that fall into a standard practice, and they've had some larger exceptions that are a little different. for their smaller games. The way I would put it is generally their games are hard to get except for at the website or secondhand market or whatnot, which means usually their games go through a phase at certain points where they're being sold for more than they're worth because they're currently in between print runs. This one does look like a good game. There's a lot of hype and buzz around the game. Don't know if it's solid or not. It could be a cute little gimmick. It could be an amazing experience. Don't know for sure. But if it is anything like Keeyp, if it's anything like Black Sonata, anything like those, then it will fall in the category of a game that you may as well get it on Kickstarter as opposed to later, because your options are either now or just waiting till their website or secondhand market. None of those three are going to give you any particular savings. Will it hold its value? It might, especially if you sell it when it's in between print runs. Otherwise, you'll lose a few bucks, but not a huge thing. It's just a cheaper game. Same thing as always with them. Moving on from then, we have Fall of the Mountain King. Fall of the Mountain King by Burnt Island Games. I do like this company. Fall of the Mountain King is going to be the prequel to In the Hall of the Mountain King, bringing you completely and totally different gameplay. Arguably a mistake, by the way, because I like the combining of themes, but whenever a company does that, whenever you have games like Valeria Card Kingdoms or any game where they share a theme but not the gameplay, you're always going to have two different categories of people. There's three categories, maybe more. We'll see. Let's cover the categories. Category one is going to be people who didn't like the original game and are turned off by, didn't like the original game and then don't get the new game because they didn't like the original, even though they're totally different. Category number two is going to be people who liked the original game, get the new game thinking it's going to be like the original game, and are disappointed when it isn't an expansion or the same game. That's category number two. Category 3 are going to be people who like the original game, get the new game, and then actually like the new game too. Currently totally surprised, awesome. And then category number 4 are people who just didn't realize the games were connected at all. So there's like 2 winners and 2 losers in that category, which is always interesting. That said, personally and selfishly, I'm cool with it because I like the art, I like the world, I'm totally okay with it. It's just always interesting when you have games sharing a universe but not mechanics. Past that, Fall of the Mountain King is going to be a 1 to 5 player standalone game. I can't speak to the solo mode, haven't played that at all. In fact, I've only actually played this. Actually, I've played it with 3 and 4 players. 3 and 4? I'm pretty sure I played with 3. I know I played it multiple times with 4. I think I played it with 3 as well. But either way, this is going to be a game, and the 5 players wasn't in the box I had, so I didn't have an opportunity to try that. This is going to be an area control game with lots of powers and abilities, which is completely up that's completely my jam. I like that stuff. This one is one I have a review on. I did give this one a 5 out of 5. Really enjoyed this one. Let's go over the general gameplay and then the Kickstarter differences and all of that. General gameplay. General gameplay is going to be you have this little puzzle, and this is similar to the Hall of the Mountain King. It does have that note where they have like a little mini game puzzle that drives your actions for the rest of the game. So in that case, that's going to be your ancestry over here. You're going to be drafting these tiles, placing them into your ancestry, which is creating a puzzle of how you actually activate these tiles, because you want to try to get them connected to a certain degree, but you don't need them too connected because you'll kind of daisy chain them as you go. A little more time to explain that one, harder to do without the pieces in front of me and just looking at a screen. From there, you're going to go ahead and outcompete your rivals. You're going to be moving around the board, taking different actions. You're going to be recruiting. Well, let me just go through the items over here. You're going to have the shields, which is going to be bolstering. That's how you can get new units on the board. You're going to have the movement, which are the green icons. You're going to have the gnome, which is going to be the gnome track, which is kind of a separate catch-all mechanism with additional side effects. And then you're going to have influence, which is going to be these over here. Influence lets you get neutrals, which is very important. You're going to want to sway these mighty champions to get them into your team, whatever it is, and you're going to get points, votes in the clans, as well as getting abilities. So that's a lot of fun to try to fight over those. From there, you're going to run around trying to basically fight these gnomes, which is going to give you points and or other things as you go through trying to conquer these gnomes that are slowly but surely swarming through the Hall of the Mountain King and taking everything over. The game is fun because there are a ton of actions. First of all, there's a little mini-game puzzle going on. Secondly, lots of actions you're taking to try to manipulate those. Every round you have a few actions. You can get barrels that will get you more actions. You're trying to figure out the perfect way to take like 15, 20 actions across the game that will be the best ones that will really help you win the game as opposed to other players. The combination of swaying other champions, of bolstering your troops, of moving your troops around the board, of getting area control in different regions, of getting area control around these great halls, which will be worth chunks of points at the end of the game. There's a lot going on here. You can have incredibly high scores in this game as you figure out how to min-max your way towards victory. Past that, Kickstarter versus non-Kickstarter are going to have falls. Anything with this K symbol is going to be in the Kickstarter edition of the game as opposed to the retail edition of the game. That is important because the retail edition of the game is going to be half the price. Let's be very clear about that. This game is going to be half the price at retail. Right now you're looking at $79 to get this game. It's going to be closer to $35 at retail. Less than half the price. That is, I mean, initially it'll probably be like $39, but over time the price will go down as they always do. You're likely looking at, if you want to be patient and wait till it shows up, wait till it's retail, and wait another 6 months past that, you're likely looking at paying roughly $35 for this game. It might be a little different, might be a little more, but likely in that range. So why are we paying twice the price for this game if you are paying twice for the price for this game? The reason is going to be the following. To begin with, you have your 125 troll miniatures. With those previous pieces of wood, let's see if we can find them. Let me see where they were. I want to see the pieces of wood. Where are the pieces of wood? I want to see the upgrade aspect. but we'll see if we can find them. I'll show you them soon. Basically, you're going to have troll miniatures that are upgraded. All those miniatures that you got, instead of being wooden meeples, are going to be these 125 little troll miniatures. We're going to have the 25 troll champions, again, instead of the other ones, which I'll show you soon. These are going to be 25 troll champions miniatures instead. We have 28 champion cards, 2 extras from stretch goals. Those are not extras. Those are going to be in the retail version as well, at least from what we can see so far. Let's see more Kickstarter exclusive tag. These shapes for the influence discs are going to be exclusive. They're going to be a unique custom shape of a troll hand for the Kickstarter exclusive version of the game. You're going to have your miniature, your gnome meeples, whatever it is, your gnome wood pieces, or gnome tokens, not even wood. Your gnome tokens are going to be upgraded to gnome meeples and miniatures, not meeples, words. Your gnome tokens are going to be upgraded to gnome miniatures, and your swarm token is going to be upgraded to a swarm miniature. Past that, your first player marker is going to be upgraded to a miniature as well, and then you'll have a bunch of custom designed game trays. This is similar to what in the Hall of Mountain King did. They had a base game version, which you can get for $35, and then a Kickstarter exclusive version that you can get that had all these extras as well. By the way, you can also get in the Hall of the Mountain King in this Kickstarter as well. Speaking of which, $95, $79 US dollars will get you Fall of the Mountain King, and $158, an additional $79, will get you the Hall of the Mountain King bundle as well there. Add-ons, for $4 you can get the Champions Mini expansion from the original in the Hall of the Mountain King. For $12 you can get the solo co-op expansion from in the Hall of the Mountain King. And then over here you can see the wood packs, 25 champions and 125 trolls. These are all the wood pieces you would get in the retail version. If you want both the retail option and the Kickstarter, you can pay an additional $17 to get both in your pack. And then for $29 over here you can get an update to in the Hall of the Mountain King. Basically everything you're seeing here are not really relevant to Fall of the Mountain King, with the exception of this wood bit pack over there. And if you want that, then honestly just get it at retail at that point. You'll be missing on the game trays, but that's basically it. Exclusives. So stretch goals. Going through the stretch goals. Give me 1 second. I need a drink of water. Going through the stretch goals. So anything that doesn't have a Kickstarter exclusive tag is not Kickstarter exclusive. Factor that in because it looks like they're doing gameplay content is not Kickstarter exclusive, and non-gameplay content is. That's what they seem to be doing so far. So new champions, for instance, are not Kickstarter exclusive. But we have these influence chits, which are upgraded to these. We have more champions being added. We have these barrels that are upgraded to these barrels over here. We have more champions that are not. We have the 15 mini challenges over here. That's going to be similar to what you had over there with you had the champions expansion in the Hall of Mountain King. Looks like we're getting this over here. And then more to be revealed across the next 18 days. That's basically what's going on here. This is going to be, let's say, should you back it, should you not, this is going to be Burnt Island Games. So we can mostly extrapolate to their past games as well. It's going to follow a similar track record. And I assume throughout the campaign we will see both stretch goals as well as the occasional drop, probably similar to what they did in the Into Deep campaign. Past that, the game should hold its value just fine. If you look on Board Game Marketplace right now, that $79 game, that $79 in the Hall of Mountain King that you can buy, people are selling that for $100 and more on Board Game Geek. So it's one that generally should or will hold its value. I imagine that's going to be true. It was true of Endeavor. It was true of in the Hall of Mountain King. We don't yet know about Into Deep. Into Deep is the one I'm questioning a little more. That theme is a little more abstract, but I assume Fall of the Mountain King will continue the trend of in the Hall of Mountain King and be one that holds its value across the board, hold its value on the secondhand market if it's not a game for you. Overall, Burnt Island Games, I think this was their highest funding day one Kickstarter. I don't know where it is right now in terms of other Kickstarters. I know it's twice, like 5 days into in the Hall of Mountain King, they went into $100,000, and now they're at $200,000 5 days into Fall of Mountain King. So overall, people seem to be interested in this one. I like most of their games, and this is my favorite Burnt Island game so far. So yeah, should you back it, should you not, should hold this value just fine. Moving on, Adventure Tactics, Adventures in Alchemy. So, Adventure Tactics, Adventure in Alchemy is going to be an expansion for Adventure Tactics. This is going to be 1,000 backers, $140,000 raised, 18 days to go. It's an expansion and reprint, similar to Isle of Cats. They're basically giving you, here's new stuff, and then here's like $250 if you want to buy absolutely everything, including old stuff, new stuff, all of that. What they're going to have over here, this is a game, if you don't know already, I have a review of the game, I have coverage of the expansion content as well, but basically, Adventure Tactics is a game where you're kind of, it is like the actual core gameplay is a family-friendly dungeon crawler. The core gameplay is not as deep or nuanced as I would like, but the leveling up is so rewarding that this is a kind of game that I'd still find fun playing with whoever, because it's a ton of fun to build out and level up your characters and then go through the whole choose your own adventure as you go through a bit of a, do you encounter the person in the alley, do you try to take the back alley through the sewers, all that kind of situation as you go through the actual game. Adventure Tactics Adventures in Alchemy is bringing you a few new things. It's bringing you the new class, the starter class, along with new elite classes you expand into. It's bringing you a new narrative campaign. It's bringing you some allies and events as well. It's bringing you a whole bunch of new cards, tokens, miniatures, and it's going to be bringing you miniature packs that you can buy for all the enemies in the original base game. So everything that was a standee can be upgraded to a miniature if you're willing to pay for it. Past that, let's go to pledge levels. $125 is going to be the answer to the call to adventure, giving you all the stuff in the base game, as well as the adventure tactics, adventures, and alchemy game. That's going to be $125 for that. Next up, we have for another $35, you can get the side quest over here, the side quest guide. From there, for another $250 is going to give you the all-in pledge over here. The all-in pledge is bringing you, well, basically all in, as you might imagine. This is going to give you the miniature pack 1, the enemy pack 1, the enemy pack 2, just tons and tons of miniatures for your game. Each of those can be purchased separately as well. It's also bringing you the big box with everything else. The big box is important because this is one of a few things in this campaign that is Kickstarter exclusive. If you want that big box that'll fit everything, because the box you have right now will not fit absolutely everything. If you want miniatures and all the content and all the stuff, good luck trying to get it all in. Hopefully this fits sleeves cards. Probably should have looked at that. I wonder if this big box fits sleeve cards. That's a big deal for me because there are a lot of cards in this game and I would love to sleeve them. There's a lot of cards in this game. I don't know when I have time to sleeve them. In any case, but yeah, that big box is going to be Kickstarter exclusive, so pay attention to that, along with a few other things such as neoprene mats. Past that, we have the big box pack, $180 all in. This is if you already have the base game, but you want everything else, so that's going to give you that. Basically, they have pledge levels for everything you might want over there. Then they have side quests and the various things you can buy separately. The upgrades and add-ons pack. You can buy the enemy pack 1 for $40. I don't know why you'd want only one enemy pack, by the way. I'm very curious who wants only one enemy pack. Wouldn't you inherently want both or none? I am curious by that splitting up. For $40, you have the enemy pack 2, which bring you the Necro Dragon and Queen Damienne and the Centaur Lord and all these different things in the game, bring you all those other stuff that are added on there. Then we have the Hero Pack 1 for the original Kickstarter for $16, and then over here is everything else you can see over here with the bundle, different options, all of that stuff showing you over there. Past that, we have a few more things. We have the neoprene player mats are going to be exclusive as well, and then they also just released an update. Let me see if I can find it over here. They just released an update over here, showing you that they are bringing you this in the Kickstarter exclusive goals. They have a Beast Companion mat as well, a mat add-on. Okay, there's going to be an add-on included in the player mat add-on. So it's kind of a stretch goal that is giving you more of a thing if you buy the add-on, if that makes sense. Past that, you can go through the stretch goals. Let me see if I can find them over here. Let's see if we can find these stretch goals. Stretch goals are going to be over here. You can scroll through all of these, seeing what is deluxe, seeing what is exclusive or not. The exclusive things are the main thing you want to pay attention to because that has the biggest chance of holding its value. Which brings us to the should you back it, should you not. Overall, Adventure Tactics, while it is a great game and one that I easily recommend, I would say the price point of the Kickstarter was roughly equitable, possibly arguably a bit more than the secondhand market price point. If you look at people selling on the secondhand market, you can find people who got their full $90 plus shipping back, but you can also find people who sold everything for $10 less or lost like $10-15 in it. So it does fall into that middle point of right about holding its value or not. It's also going to depend on retail availability. When this game is available on retail, it's a lot cheaper. You're saving like $30 there. You're not getting everything, but you're saving $30 and you're getting most of the stuff. But it is right now between print runs. So it's kind of a little bit in the middle. The thing that I think might put this more into a safer should you back it is going to be the exclusive stuff. The play mats, the neoprene flare mats, and the all-in gigantic box that will not be available at retail. Those things will help push this from am I holding my value? Am I losing $10-15? Or is it going to sell for more than what I paid for it if it's not a game for me? I think those things will help. So I think it's a relatively safe back, a little room to lose on, but the safest back is going to be the things that include that giant box because people are going to be seeking that out since they cannot buy that miniature market, Cool Stuff Inc. wherever. And that is effectively going to be Adventure Tactics Adventures in Alchemy. Two more. Whew. Ruthless. Ruthless is not a Kickstarter. This is a pre-order. I have a review going up for this one tomorrow. I encourage you to watch that one. This is a solid game, a much more solid game than I thought it would be. Then again, I mean, take into account the ratings in this one are like the rating on the base game of Ruthless is like a 7.2 or something like that on Board Game Geek, which is solid. For me, it's higher than that, but then again, it just makes me the exception, not everyone else. But overall, Ruthless is a deck building game that I played this one and have been really enjoying it. It has tons and tons of daisy chaining. Now, to be fair, I don't know what I would rate this without the expansion because I've only actually fully played this with the expansion properly. So if you take out the expansion stuff, I know I would like it less because the expansion adds stuff that's fun, but I don't know how much less. So that's always curious there. Either way, I get this one a 4 to 5. You can watch my full review for the breakdown. This is a deck building game that gives you a lot of fun stuff to do and just lets you continuously cycle and cycle and cycle. You are basically building out a pirate deck, you're weeding out your starter cards, and then you're just drawing a card, you draw a card, you draw a card, you go through your discard pile, you grab a treasure. You're just doing so much on your turn that is incredibly rewarding, even as you play across only 5 rounds of gameplay. Lots of fun, very tight. I like the Tall Tales expansion. The Tall Tales expansion adds a few new things, from legendary pirates to krakens to cursed pirates. I didn't like the cursed pirates, but I like the krakens. I like legendary pirates. It adds quests and treasures. I like those. It adds more pirate factions. I like those a lot. It adds more goals. It adds more treasures. Basically everything in the expansion I like, except for the cursed pirate, which I didn't like, but that's just like 6 cards in an expansion full of otherwise chock full of goodies. This is one to pay attention to because, well, the reason I'm covering it is twofold. First of all, I was going to cover this when I thought it was a Kickstarter. They changed their plans and it's not a Kickstarter, now it's just a pre-order, but I'm going to cover it anyway and talk about it. This ends June 30th, so you have until June 30th to buy it, but more than that, it is also limited to what's it called? It's limited to 400 backers in both languages, so they have this available both in terms of, and also Before You Play did coverage of this, you can check out their preview of it, but over here we have, it's going to be limited to 400 pledges in each of 2 languages, so you can have limited to 400 copies in each, in English or Deutsch or German. So basically that means you have until June 30th or until those 400 copies sell, so check that out. You have 2 options here. For 35 euros you can get the base game and the expansion, and for the Tall Tales expansion alone it's going to be 15 euros. So first of all, a quick note there, that means it's 20 euros for the base game. Full disclaimer, you can get that already $2 or $3 cheaper than that, meaning 20 euros is roughly $24, and you can get this for like $21 online right now, assuming of course you have a $100 free order with free shipping. Otherwise the shipping is going to balance out to more. So basically you can get the expansion, or you can get the expansion, base game. You get the base game here, or you get the base game at your local retailer. Obviously this goes more directly to the creator, so that $3 you can decide accordingly. The expansion, on the other hand, the expansion is only available on Kickstarter. The Ruthless Tall Tales expansions will not be available at retail. If you like Ruthless, if you are on the fence about Ruthless, Tall Tales makes it a very solid game. I am really enjoying this game with Tall Tales. I easily recommend this one. It is and it's not like a light, short deck build. This game plays in like an hour plus, but it is just, it's meaty. Very, very fun to go through. I like it best at 2 and 3. More than that, it starts to bog down the game time. But overall, there's a solo mode too. Don't know much about the solo mode because I haven't played solo, but there's a solo. Maybe I should play it solo. I'd actually consider playing this one solo. It was really fun. Anyways, that is going to be Ruthless. Past that, should you back it, should you not? So it's a tough one. The base game, easily not. You can already buy this. I'm not saying you shouldn't back it. I'm saying it won't hold its value if you can buy it for less than the price you're paying at retail right now. It's just not going to hold its value. The expansion, though, is a different story because the expansion is Kickstarter exclusive. This game does not have a wide audience, but if there's 400 English copies of the game floating in the world entirely, and it may or may not ever be reprinted, I don't know. They say it won't be available at retail. They don't say it won't be reprinted. Maybe it'll be available from their website. Maybe, I don't know for sure, in which case that might change. So if it's available directly from the website, that might change things, but you're getting a pre-order now. I would not back this one expecting to hold its value. I could be wrong. It's a little harder to know because it's a cheap expansion for a game that is not that popular, but also won't be available at retail. Too many competing reasons for me to confidently say it will or won't hold its value. I would say if you're interested in the game, it's €15, and if you're not interested in the game, well, there's plenty of other games out there. Next up, and lastly on the list, we have The Binding of Isaac 4 Souls Requiem. This is going to be the massive expansion to The Binding of Isaac 4 Souls. The Binding of Isaac. So, I'm talking about this one because it's 33... Sorry, drink of water time. I'm talking about this one because it's 33,000 backers and $4 million. It should get its own dedicated video. I just don't care enough about the game to give it its own dedicated video. The Binding of Isaac 4 Souls is going to be the expansion to Binding of Isaac, and The Binding of Isaac is going to be a video game that they have a card game, that they have merch and tons of stuff around it. They run exciting Kickstarters where they make you do funny or mean things to people around you. I'm not getting involved or invested in that conversation, but effectively, this is going to be a Munchkin-esque style game. The goal is to effectively capture 4 bosses, defeat them, while you play cards to help yourself and get in each other's way. Very Munchkin-esque in the style of gameplay. I'm not saying it is as good or as bad as Munchkin, depending on your opinion of Munchkin, but it seems to be very much in that genre. Arguably, it's a bit better if you just go by ratings alone, but not necessarily by much. It does not mean it's a bad game. It just means depending on who you are. If you are someone who doesn't play board games, Munchkin is a great game. If you're someone who's used to a lot of board games, Munchkin is often not a great game. If you like it, don't be offended, you're allowed to like it. That's great. I'm just talking about the general aggregate. So The Binding of Isaac is a game that, because of that gameplay, because of that general style, the art I actually find, amusing, funny, or whatever it is, but that general style of just targeting players, getting in the way, helping yourself, and just constant card play is not typically the type of game that I personally enjoy, which is why I'm not just invested in this Kickstarter, but I am covering it because because 33,000 backers and $4 million, and like, what were they made $2 million like day one or something like that, or hour one, whatever it was absolutely insane. There's gonna be a ton of different pledge levels here, getting things from the original game, from the base game, from the giant box over the second edition with the gold box and all the cards and coins and everything else, the big boy giving you the box that will hold 1,000 cards, whatever it is. They had a quote somewhere. You can watch the video. The video was fun. Speaking of fun videos, by the way, I highly recommend watching the video for Mechanical Beast. That was a great video. Don't know I'm talking about it here, should have talked about it there. We're gonna have more stuff. The full collection, $110. The Guardian Angel, $150. The signature print, $250. Whoa, I'm not saying that. The signed tier, $300. The Draw You as Isaac, $400. Just tons and tons of stuff. And then, of course, retail pledges for the game. Should you back it, should you not? I mean, first of all, shortly, this does hold its value. If you look at the original Kickstarter gold box, that cost people, and the gold box plus expansion, that cost people like $75, sells on eBay for like $150 to $200. So people like this IP. People like this game. People like this. I mean, $4 million, 30,000 backers within a handful of days. People like this system a lot. They are invested in this property, this world, whatever it is. And to that end, they've been paying double the price of what people paid for it to get the exclusive stuff that wasn't available elsewhere from the original Kickstarter. Now that stuff's available again, so that price on eBay is going to drop down to get to a certain point, but it almost certainly will hold its value if you're willing to be patient, wait for it to show up again in a year and a half, so it'll likely hold its value just fine there. If you're interested in the game, I mean, go ahead and get it, because it's cheaper than getting it on eBay. Lots and lots and lots of stuff, including plushies and hats and toys, and basically everything you want from... Talking too much, I need drinks more. Basically everything you want for this game, from pins, from exclusives, from art, from things from other artists and other games and other IPs, just a ton of stuff for your Binding of Isaac 4 Souls expansion to this game. So yeah, it'll hold its value just fine if you are interested in that. And that is the last of the Kickstarters for today, which means we are all done for the day. Until next time, I am Alex Radcliffe. Jeez, I got to the end there. Until next time, I am Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and I hope you have a good one. You ever have that terrifying moment? I mean, you probably don't. I do. Where you're at the end of a video and you realize you're not sure if you've been recording the whole time. The good news is I've been recording the whole time, but I got panicked there for a second and wondered if I did. Past that, I don't have anything planned. I need to start working my plans. I used to have these plans for like after content for when the video was like over but not over. I haven't had anything recently because the past few weeks I've been talking about the fact, so I guess I'll talk about it again. The past few weeks I've been talking about the fact that I have a separate video series that is now part of the channel that I still don't publicly talk about. I talk about it at the end of the video, not at the beginning, but where I go through all these Kickstarters. It's Patreon exclusive, $5 tier, but basically for $5 a month you get 4 of these videos, because I do one every week, where I go through all the Kickstarters of the week and tell you all the reasons you should not back them, at least if I have good reasons not to back them. Sometimes I could just tell you should have to back them. Oh my gosh, I forgot the picks. That's terrible. Okay, well, there's going to be a timestamp to the hidden section. My picks of the week. Sorry about that. Totally forgot. My picks of the week are going to be Fall of the Mountain King for my preferred Kickstarter. Totally forgot to do this. Fall of the Mountain King is my preferred Kickstarter of the week in terms of the game I am most interested in and most enjoyed. Past that, I almost was going to give Fall of the Mountain King the value pick as well, but no, actually. Binding of Isaac is going to get the value pick. I can't not. Based on the original Kickstarter, doubling its value, this one gets the value pick of the month, the safe back of the month, but what's it called? Fall of the Mountain King almost got both of those. So yeah, so apparently I will have a timestamp to the hidden section of the video this week. So yeah, maybe. Anyways, going back to what I was saying, I have a Patreon series where for $5 a month, basically I will once a week go through all the Kickstarters and tell you why you should not back them all as much as I possibly can, and I'll give you whatever reasons I can, including to things I like Fall of the Mountain King, including to things I'm backing. They will be legitimate, real reasons, not made-up reasons, just stuff that is focusing on all the reasons why you should save money as opposed to spend money, because we all spend too much money on Kickstarter, me more so than I should. Yeah, that. But I used to have behind the scenes a little jokes or things or tidbits. I don't have any of that. I can tell you I really like Ruthless. Ruthless was very much a surprise to me. It's actually set up. I just did a video for it, so it's going to be over there. That's going to be the Ruthless setup over there. We got some other things on the shelf. Got Distilled in the background. I don't know, what do we have? Let's point to things in the background and talk with them. So if we point at Distilled over here, that's Distilled, okay? Distilled, I've played this already. I'll be doing some coverage of it. I have the Merlin big box over there, which I'm excited about. I have Keystone over here. Keystone, which I will be doing coverage on as well, hopefully soon. We'll see as soon as I can get it. What's this game over here? That looks like I don't know what that is. Can't see. And we have Mystia, which I keep getting questions on, but need to play. Lots of fun stuff. A Trick Shot. We did Valor and Villainy over here. There we go, Valor and Villainy. And that one I have coverage of the expansion for Ludwig's Labyrinth. Lots of things coming. Always lots of things, but whatever. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. Thanks for being here, and as always, have a good one.